Starting. Hi guys, welcome back on SportsKhabri, Curious Harry and Arun Foot. Thank you so much for joining us once again tonight. And it's been a long one day because a lot of us had to process a lot that happened in the last 24 hours. Another reality check, another awareness of what is actually happening in Indian football and kitna progress actually hua hai, kitna nahi hua hai. So kind of a wake up call. Um, of course, as I said earlier, yesterday as well, a lot of disappointments. So today we will start the particular stream by a ranting session. So each one of us are going to get 1 minute each to rant about the current situation in Indian football. And I will start with Rahul first because Rahul, since the time you've joined us today, you've not said a word. So please, your 1 minute
Uh,
starts now.
it's actually not much of a rant. I think for me, I've just I've sort of calmed down since yesterday, kind of come to terms with it. At the end of the day, if you look at it objectively, you don't expect India to win these games. Like objectively, you just don't. That's the truth. But it's sad because the fan inside you wants something, and you want a positive result because your team. And for me at least, I think I've joined the Indian football scene very, and when I sort of joined the Indian football scene back in 2015-16, I think I would still say I'm more connected to my club than my national team, because at the time India was not playing the Asian Cup. We didn't really play in any big tournaments. So I still feel like for me it's not that much a disappointment. Probably Arunava. They've been for so long, and looking at it repeatedly would really frustrate you. So for me, if this was BFC, I would be like, I would lose my mind. But yeah, I think for me, it's still okay. Like I've calmed down, and it's all right. Like today, I'm fine. But yeah, the team objectively not great.
I'll go to Arunava last. Hiren, what do you have to say?
रेंट मतलब सीरियस मोड बाहर लाना पड़ेगा। देखिए नहीं डेफिनेटली थोड़ा सा मतलब जब मैच खत्म होता है तो फ्रस्ट्रेशन ज्यादा होता है, धीरे धीरे टाइम के साथ वो खत्म हो जाता है। लेकिन आई थिंक फ्रस्ट्रेशन होना भी चाहिए। राहुल की बात से थोड़ा सा मैं डिसएग्री करूंगा कि पहले से ही पता था कि हारने वाले थे। आई थिंक वो हम सबको पता है। लेकिन जिस तरह से आप देखिए अदर 23 कंट्रीज प्लेइंग इन दी एशियन कप एंड आपसे भी लोअर रैंक कंट्री जिस तरह से फाइट पुटअप कर रही है, जिस तरह की फुटबॉल खेल रही है, दैट इज द मेन थिंग कि आप वो भी नहीं कर पा रहे हो। दैट इज द बिगेस्ट डिसअपॉइंटमेंट फॉर मी। आप जीतो हारो एक साइड है, लेकिन फुटबॉलिंग वाइज जो इम्प्रूवमेंट की हम बात करते हैं वो आप नहीं बोल सकते कि हमने किया है। एंड आई थिंक उसमें हर किसी ने मतलब जो भी जितने भी स्टेक होल्डर है, कल भी हमने बात की थी, फेल किए हैं तभी जाके पॉसिबल हो पाया है। सो आई थिंक दिस इज ए जिसे यू कैन से कि इस एफसी एशियन कप ने मतलब जो एक अपने फॉल्स सा बबल बनाया था ना कि इंडियन फुटबॉल की रिगार्डिंग की हाँ भाई कि हम अच्छा कर रहे हैं, अच्छा कर रहे हैं, अच्छा कर रहे हैं, इसको इसने मतलब एकदम क्लियर कट यहाँ पे क्या बोलते हैं कि आईना दिखाया है कि भाई वेयर एक्चुअली वी आर स्टैंडिंग राइट नाउ। एंड आई थिंक डिसअपॉइंटमेंट इस चीज से भी है क्योंकि यहाँ पे अगर एक चीज के आप टेक्टिक्स से हार जाते तो समझ में आता, तो आप कोच को ब्लेम कर सकते थे। आप प्लेयरों की इंडिविजुअल मिस्टेक से हार जाते सारी मैचेस तो उनको ब्लेम कर सकते थे। बट सारी चीजें आई थिंक पिछले जो कुछ सालों से चल रही है रिगार्डिंग इंडियन फुटबॉल, इतना ज्यादा फैंस का सपोर्ट होने के बावजूद, एंड मेरे को सबसे ज्यादा गुस्सा इसी बात का है कि फैंस अपना अनकंडीशनल सपोर्ट दिखा रहे हैं, लेकिन दिस idiots, I think these four idiots, AFF, ISL, coach and players, they didn't appreciate them. I think 39,000 people turning up this match, still knowing that India is going to lose, and still these people have not courtesy to say anything or accept their mistake, and showing you can say false dreams without working hard, or you can say actually working. I think that is the big disappointment for me, and that's why I'm really disappointed. And डेफिनेटली टीम को सपोर्ट रहेगा आगे भी, ऐसा नहीं है कि इंडियन टीम को सपोर्ट नहीं रहेगा, वो तो हमेशा से रहेगा, एंड इन दिस बैड मोमेंट्स particularly रहेगा। बट आई थिंक I am really disappointed. I think I need to see more changes after this AFC Cup in terms of the coach, in terms of the players. And some players needs to leave now. I think their time has come, and in AFF, ISL, they needs to step their steps. I think क्योंकि वो तो अपनी कुर्सी नहीं छोड़ेंगे, but I think they needs to take steps, and ISL needs to bring changes। जो ISL में अभी भी लगता है कि एज अ लीग उसको करने की जरूरत है। So these are the changes मैं देखना चाहूंगा, and there will be some you can say कि थोड़ा सा आपको रिवोल्यूशन लाना पड़ेगा, तभी जाके थोड़ी सी चीजें पर्सपेक्टिव में आएगी. अदरवाइज 2027 and we are going to have a same discussion, we losing Australia by 1-0 and we are saying we have made progress. Last time we lose 2-0, this time we lose 1-0, and that's our footballing progress. And other countries will beating Japan, same as today beat Iraq. So I think that's the difference.
Arnav, over 20 years of working in Indian football, you have seen the highs and the lows. And you have been warning us right from the start that this is going to happen, this is going to happen. A lot of people didn't believe you, a lot of people did believe you. And do you think that this is like the new low for us in the time span that you've spent? Do you think this is like a fresh new low for us?
Again, from a national team perspective, yes, I would say from an Indian football perspective, I would have said that when India got banned by FIFA, it was sort of the lowest point that I've seen in Indian football. And I can myself say, again, I've been part of the system for over 20 years. I've tried my things. I have sometimes failed. I had, before India got banned, I took it on me. I spent my own money to go to Delhi, try to explain to people what will happen. These people thought they know better. I said, when these new people come in from the AFF, are you sure that this new AFF will be better than the old one? I've been saying this coach is a problem. He's not going to take us forward for years. People believe the PR. And I will try and continue to change things. I will be a problem for people because I will name what the problems are. I will tell people what needs to be improved. If I'm in a position of power, yeah, I will try and change things. Can I do it on my own? No, I can't. Because there are too many rotten apples in the Indian football system. Let's name this. The system is rotten. And even people who claim that they're doing good things, they're doing it either for themselves or they've got other interests. That is the real problem. And people who are defending the coach today, you should be ashamed of yourself. Seriously, you should be ashamed of yourself. Because the coach was saying 2 weeks ago something else. A month ago, he was saying something else. 2 months ago, he was saying something else. This team is not ready to play this tournament, period. And these players are not playing to the best of their potentials. That's the other thing. And it doesn't matter how many days you got a camp. India played more international football than anybody else in the year 2023. Did you play any team of the level of an Uzbekistan or Australia? Qatar is the closest. That was your final game. And we saw what we did against Qatar. And we've been getting away. These 0-3s and 0-2s look very, very good. People are talking about ball possession. Did Uzbekistan play football yesterday in the second half? Did they play football yesterday in the second half? They were happy with the 3-0. They tried a few counters here and there. You are happy with that football? Seriously.
But sir, एक sorry to interrupt, एक चीज बोलना चाहूंगा कि the people who are happy with the score line that we are losing by Australia 2-0, Uzbekistan 3-0, Qatar 3-0 से हमारे उसके सामने थ्रेश नहीं हो गए. तो भाई this is a football, this is not a, you can say कि any other sport कि आपके यहाँ पे हर रोज हर मैच में 5 गोल देखने को मिलेंगे. कितने मैचेस पूरे वर्ल्ड में खेले जाते हैं फुटबॉल में जिसमें स्कोर लाइन 5-0 देखने को मिलती है आपको? वेरी लेस मैचेस. तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया के सामने आप सिर्फ 2-0 से हारे हो तो आपने कुछ अच्छा कर दिया है. उसमें उनकी गलती ज्यादा रही है rather than
and we're going into stats and this and that and we're trying to buy something which is good. Let's face it.
नहीं आप मंगोलिया के सामने आप म्यांमार के सामने 1-0 से जीते हो, वानुआतु के सामने 2-0 से, तब आप बोलते हो कि हमने इनको हरा दिया. अब बड़ी टीमों के सामने आप 2-0 से जीते हो तब आप बोलते हो कि हमने तो अच्छा डिफेंड कर लिया. तो व्हाट इज दिस लॉजिक? आप छोटी टीमों के सामने सिर्फ आप ही खुद आपसे क्या बोलते कि 50, 60, 70, 80 रैंक लोअर टीम से आप 1-0 एक गोल डिफरेंस से या फिर 2 गोल डिफरेंस से जीतते हो, और आप अपने से 30, 40 रैंक हायर टीम से आप 3-0 से हार जाते हो और आप बोलते हो हमने डिफेंड अच्छा किया. तो ये दोनों तो कॉन्ट्राडिक्ट हो रही है. या तो आप ये डिसाइड कर लो कि आपने बुरा खेल लिया था लोअर टीमों के सामने, या तो आप ये डिसाइड कर लो कि आपने अच्छा नहीं खेला हायर रैंक टीमों के सामने. दोनों तरफ तो नहीं चलेगा ना. आप म्यांमार के सामने 1-0 जीत के आप खुश हो रहे हो कि हमने उनको हरा दिया जबकि टेक्निकली बेटर थे, एंड इधर आप कतार के सामने 3-0 हार के बोल रहे हो, ऑस्ट्रेलिया के सामने 2-0 हार के कि हमने अच्छा डिफेंड कर लिया. दिस इज द फुटबॉल, रिजल्ट ऐसे ही होंगे 2-0 3-0। अर्जेंटीना के साथ कल आप खेलोगे, मे बी उसका दिन खराब रहा, शॉट नहीं जा रहे तो 1-0 2-0 से आपको हराएंगे। तो इसका मतलब ये थोड़ी है कि हमने अर्जेंटीना के लेवल के पहुंच गए कि हम उसको भी टक्कर देने लगे। दिस इज
I think
व्हाट इज द
I
लॉजिक।
I think what worries me, the biggest worry is that again people have been watching ISL and some of football here and there. The problem is that even when against lower ranked teams, our football basics look bad.
Bad, exactly.
And that's what I've been saying for the last half year. Even when we won the SAF, if you look, I was there when watching against Lebanon, against Kuwait. We're technically worse than these two teams. When we're playing teams in South Asia, we're technically not good enough. So what are we good at? And I think one thing has to be said. Sunil Chhetri, over the last 5, 6, 7 years, has sort of sugar-coated the problem that Indian football has been having, because Sunil has scored many vital goals. In the past, he had players like JJ's and they have had that quality. At the moment, the question again, and the point is, how do I rectify these? Is there any? The AFF will not do an introspection.
That is the big problem.
Will there be any? Did the president or the secretary come out and say anything? The acting secretary, at least. The ex-secretary is making statements over there, right? You guys have screwed up. There is no accountability. No accountability. And nobody is there to put and tell these people that you are in positions, again, we've had problems. COVID was a big problem for the whole world. And post-COVID, our structure, at least at youth level, is no longer there. Pre-COVID, a structure was evolving and developing. I remember when we went, I went to a workshop to the AFF when I was working with Round Glass. There at least was something. There is building. It wasn't perfect. Now we only have this under 17, which is more of a tournament than a league. It will not work. We then have the topic of age fraud. We don't have the right quality of coaching at youth level. Even we four could go and do coaching. That's the level of coaching at the moment.
Exactly.
It is so bad. And it needs to be said. It needs to be said and needs to be, people need to wake up. Sorry.
I just want to add that I don't know how, I can't understand how you can be happy.
Just a second, now there's some background noise from some end.
I can hear people in the background.
मेरे side से होगा.
Yeah, Rahul, go ahead.
I was just saying that I don't know how you can be happy with a 2-0 win. It's not about expecting to draw against Uzbekistan. Yeah, of course we didn't expect it, but you can't go in with the mindset that you're going to lose. Like that makes no sense, right? Any football game, it doesn't matter if it's 2-0 or 6-0, you've lost the game. You've got nothing to show from that game. At the end of the day, you need to go in with the mindset that, yeah, at least I need to get something. I need to have something to show from this game at the end of the day. That's what anyone goes into any game with. Even if you're playing school level, college level, international football, it doesn't matter. Club football, whatever it is, nobody goes in to say, okay, you know what? Oh, we lost just 2-0. That's great. Like, I've never heard anybody say that. Any school kid say that? Nobody. Even my brother, whose team is not that great, when they play really good teams and they lose, and even if they keep the score down against a really good team, they don't come back and say, hey, you know what, we actually played well, we kept the score down to 2-0. That's stupid. Like, I have never heard stuff like that. Like, when they play a nil or draw, they're like, oh, okay, fine, you know what, the 12-year-old knows that a nil or draw you've something to show for. It's a point from a tough game. When you lose 1-0, you're disappointed because you were nearly there. When you lose 2-0, you don't come back and say, hey, you know what, we did a good job.
And look at today. I think Asian Cup at the moment, I'm just watching in parallel Vietnam against Indonesia, and I think Vietnam is one of those rising powers of Asian football, and at the moment they're losing 1-0 to Indonesia, right? And Indonesia is actually deservingly leading against them. That they have players of origin. Again, I take that whole topic out. But the point here is, if you look at this Asian Cup and look at how teams have tried to do things, I didn't even see that desire, and that is the point. I have to question the coach. Is the
Coach,
team
exactly.
mentally really there? What is the system? What are we playing? What is the intention? Because
That
again,
exactly.
that we are not up to the level of an Australia, of
And
an Uzbekistan, even not of a Syria, no doubt about it. But at least have to show some intent of trying out something.
that is the sir my biggest problem is that कि बाकी 23 कंट्रीज आप हांगकांग इवन हांगकांग को भी काउंट कर लो जो 150th रैंक है उसका भी वो इंटेंट वो दिख रहा है कि दे आर मेड अ प्रोग्रेस इन द लास्ट 4 years जब हमने उनको 4-1 पे बीट किया था उसके बाद या फिर इंडो आप थाईलैंड ले लीजिए जब उनको 4-1 बीट किया था एट द मैटर ऑफ वियतनाम से हम हारे थे लेकिन आप देखिए इंडोनेशिया किस तरह से फाइट कर रहा है दैट इज द बिग इशू ना कि आपने एज ए कोच अभी अनुराग भाई बोल रहे थे कि मैं ईगोस्टमी को ज्यादा ब्लेम नहीं देखिए इस कल के मैच में आप ज्यादा टेक्टिकली मतलब जो भी है आप कर दीजिए बट आई थिंक द प्रॉब्लम विद ईगोस्टमी इज ही हैज बीन गिवन अ 5 years एंड ही स्टिल डिडंट एबल टू बिल्ड द टीम एंड आप सिर्फ 11 लोगों की अगर टीम बना दो और उसमें से आपके 4 प्लेयर नहीं है और आप बोलते रह जाओ कि मेरे को 4 प्लेयर नहीं थे अदरवाइज रिजल्ट कुड बी डिफरेंट maybe 5% you who played better football with those 4 players but still doesn't mean कि आप यहाँ पे compete कर पाते and that's why I think Igor Stimac also needs to go after this AFC Asian Cup. There will be you can say कि changes at every front and उसमें उसका भी रोल आता है कि 5 साल I think सर को ज्यादा पता होगा. I think international football में I don't see many coaches get that much of time. I think the cycle to cycle चलता है most of the time and I think the average would be I think 2 to 3 years and in club football it's only 1 year. So I think enough time has been given to Igor Stimac. I think सबसे ज्यादा रिसोर्सेज अगर किसी भी नेशनल टीम के कोच को मिला है पूरी इंडियन फुटबॉल की हिस्ट्री में तो है ईगो स्टिमिच 16 मैचेस एक साल में दैट्स द प्रिपरेशन टाइम भाई आपने खुद ने बोला था वो प्रिपरेशन के लिए है और आपको टाइम दिया गया था अब एक वीक आपको कम मिल जाने से आप बोल दो कि भाई मेरे को एक वीक कम मिला एंड मेरे को 4 प्लेयर नहीं थे अदरवाइज रिजल्ट कुड हैव बीन अ डिफरेंस व्हाट आर यू टॉकिंग अबाउट एक्सक्यूज देने के लिए तो कुछ भी हो सकता है एक्सक्यूज देने के लिए तो लोग ईगो क्या बोलते कि कोविड को भी एक्सक्यूज दे रहे हैं आई थिंक द biggest issue is कि हम excuse देने में माहिर हैं
where is the game style development? Where
technical exactly
listen,
with this
I mean,
player also you
this
can
is the
compete
biggest BS I've been hearing. BS. You know, the question is, my tactical system has to fit the players that I have. I don't have a system and I tell my players to play it. If I am possession football is the biggest BS in the world of football. 99% of teams, nations, clubs cannot play possession football.
Sir, biggest lie is
But
this
I want to
possession
know.
football in the sense कि आप जापान और सॉरी आप नेपाल बांग्लादेश पाकिस्तान के सामने बॉल रख के आप पोजेशन फुटबॉल खेल लो उसको थोड़ी ना बोलो कि पोजेशन फुटबॉल आपको आ गई है आपसे एक रैंक ऊपर अगर एक टीम खेलती है और उसके सामने आप डिफेंड करने क्या बोलते हैं कि सिटबैक कर देते हो और आप बोल रहे हो कि हम पोजेशन फुटबॉल खेलने लग गए तो आप किसको उल्लू बना रहे हो आप खुद को ही बना
But
रहे हो
where
हम बोल रहे लोग बोल रहे 5 साल में पिछले 5 साल में हमने पोजेशन बेस्ड फुटबॉल खेलना चालू कर दिया अरे वाह भाई वाह पाकिस्तान बांग्लादेश के सामने आप खेल लो और आपसे क्या बोलते कि सामने अच्छी टीम आती है तो आपकी तो फट जाती है फिर तो वो थोड़ी ना है फुटबॉल थोड़ी ना वो
also we also
पाकिस्तान
have to
बांग्लादेश का
understand
लेवल
कि
का थोड़ी ना फुटबॉल चल रहा है आप देखो तो सही इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे फुटबॉल चल कहाँ किस लेवल पे रहा है
एग्जैक्टली
और आप बोल रहे कि हमने
इम्प्रूवमेंट्स तो
ये
किसी
स्टाइल
और
डेवलप कर
कोच
दिया
को भी अगर हम 5 साल देते टेक्निकली किसी और कोच को भी अगर आप 5 साल देते तो इम्प्रूवमेंट्स थोड़े बहुत तो वो भी ले ही आते ना लाइक
हाँ
ऐसा तो नहीं है कि हम वही स्टैग्नेंट रहते कि हम जैसे खेल रहे थे हम वैसे ही खेलते सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन व्हाट काइंड ऑफ इतना इम्प्रूवमेंट द ग्राफ इज
My favorite example is Apuya. The coach said a few months ago that this player is not the best Indian midfielder and he's not part of his plan. Jackson gets injured and suddenly has to change the plans. And yesterday he actually said, you know what? Apuya and Suresh actually did a decent job.
a lot of decisions are being made on social media
and
that are happening.
And the point is here is hard decisions need to be taken. Hard decisions need to be taken. And it doesn't matter what a fan says. The coach has to take the decision which he thinks is the right one, right? But there needs to be someone with oversight discussing things. It is very, very interesting that Igor Stimac in the last 2-3 press conferences that he's made in Qatar has been more honest in front of the international media than he has been at any press conference with an Indian journalist over the last 4.5 years.
बिकॉज वहां पे सर, वहां पे उनको पता है कि सामने लोग फुटबॉल को समझते हैं, वो बैठे हैं उसके क्या बोलते हैं कि चमचे नहीं बैठे हैं, इसलिए वहां पे फालतू की चीज बोलेगा तो वो सामने बोल देगा, अबे अबे फालतू की बात क्या कर रहा है तू।
I need to
here also there are
इधर
people who
इधर
ask
प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस मिस
tough
कर देते हो
questions. I'm sure there are people.
इधर
No,
मलेशिया के सामने
the-
आप प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में नहीं आते हो।
the point here is,
हाँ,
Vineet, the
मतलब
question is not how we play. We have lost before we're going onto the field. It is. I know some of the players, and if you see the way they're talking, they're acting, they're trying to give their best. But there will be coaches who will get another 5%, another 10% out of these players. And these 5-10%, when you get them out of these players, you will see that makes a huge difference in a team. Manolo Marquez has shown it. Hyderabad, again, decent team, but not a top team. They won the ISL, right? Vukomanovic doing it with the Blasters, giving the young players a chance. Des Buckingham has done. Peter Krutke is going to a next level at the moment in the Super Cup. He doesn't know his players. He says, you know what? Let me try all of them out. That is what is needed. And I have not seen a system. I have not seen a game plan. Players have been called up. Players have been sent home. I know from national team players who've been called up who says, I have been called up to the camp. I'm training. I don't know where we stand. I have to compare ISL and international football. Of course, the ISL is 10 years old. It's not, the ISL was brought in. I was involved at the start of the ISL to raise the standard of Indian football. And if the people working at FSDL, at Reliance, in the ISL, they have to agree to one thing, that the football standard has not improved. The reality is our football basics are not there. We cannot trap a ball. If a player is asked to play the ball wide, it goes out of the field. There is no coordination amongst the players. These players have been playing for you, for some of them, for 4 or 5 years. How can that be?
But now, from a fan's perspective, what is the solution?
Grassroots and youth football is a totally different discussion. Even at a top level, a national coach has to deliver. And if I'm there 5 years, I need to show some sort of results. And don't tell me winning an Intercontinental Cup and the SAF Cup is what we wanted to win. There is no football legacy. If this man leaves tomorrow, what will be his football legacy? Ask him that.
If I'm not wrong, before the Asian Cup also it was said, right, that this is not a priority and World Cup qualifiers are.
He is making a, you can say, a completely opposite statement. Every week he made the different statement. You can't trust him कि वो कब क्या बोल रहा है. So I think वो तो कोई मतलब नहीं. And I think it's now time to, you can say, कि change some things to get the more clear perspective.
But overall, like if I ask you guys, what is the way forward? Because now there are a lot of other challenges also from the financial perspective. 10 years since ISL started, clubs are still not making money. ISL does not have a sponsor. Indian football does not have a sponsor.
एक सेकंड, तुषार रोय भाई ऑस्ट्रेलिया के सामने क्या किया था उसने? बस पार्क नहीं की तो क्या किया था? क्या उसने नहीं ट्राई कर लिया? कल उज्बेकिस्तान के सामने क्या था? 80% मैच आपके और हाफ क्या बोलते कि सेंट्रल हाफ में मैच चला है. तो दिस इज व्हाट यू कैन से अटैकिंग फुटबॉल. अब क्या बोल रहे हो कि ईगो स्ट्रीमिंग ने क्या नया कर दिया? पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश, नेपाल के सामने अटैकिंग फुटबॉल को आप बोल रहे हो कि उसने नया ट्राई कर लिया.
And where did we play attacking football? I mean, have we played attacking football? We're talking about a style, about things which we are not implementing. The words don't match the actions. That is my biggest problem.
Yeah, but like
We
a lot
we
of other.
we are not able to compete at under 17, under 20, under 23. Take Uzbekistan as a prime example. Uzbekistan under 17 World Cup quarterfinals, beating a team like England,
इंग्लैंड हाँ
losing to France. Under 20, under 23, they've been amongst the best Asian sides. You cannot compete. Australia has a robust internal system. The Australians call on their diaspora. They bring in those, especially British boys, different level. Syria, this is not the Syria of 2007, 2009.
दूसरा पे अप्रोच हाँ अप्रोच आप बोल सकते हैं कि उसके सामने वो था बट इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि हमने वो डेवलप कर दिया है
No, I agree with what.
Rahul, one question for you.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry,
Yeah.
please.
No, I was just saying, I agree with.
Why would top teams
Please go
play
ahead.
us? They ask the counter question.
Yeah.
What is the value of a Japan, of a Korea, of an Iran, of a Saudi to play us? And now today the discussion is Kerala government wants to bring Argentina, which is going to be more of a circus than going to help Indian football. It's a waste of money.
But I know that will be an interesting case
But-
study.
but
na?
that-
At least like you have already predicted it's not going to
no
do
it's
any good.
a
So
not
we
waste
can,
of
like,
money for them ना सर नहीं it's not for the Indian football's betterment सर वो तो वहाँ की जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट है उनको वहाँ के लोगों को फुटबॉल में ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट है तो इस तरह का जैसे ममता दीदी ने क्या बोलते कि स्पेन जाके बोल दिया कि ला लीगा की एकेडमी यहाँ पे आएगी तो इस तरह से वो कर रहा है ना दे आर डूइंग फॉर देयर यू कैन से कि पॉलिटिकल और एनीथिंग उसमें उससे इंडियन फुटबॉल को कुछ लेना देना ही नहीं है they are inviting Argentina because Kerala is mad about the football and they want to give their people a joy of playing Argentina in Kerala. So there is nothing about Indian football. वहाँ उससे तो 1% भी इंडियन फुटबॉल को कुछ फायदा होने वाला है वो तो क्लियर कट है वो तो
कुछ लोगों को है ये मिसकंसेप्शन हिरेन मतलब बट
हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल हाँ वो है डेफिनेटली है 100% है कि इससे कुछ अलग ही हो जाएगा एटलीस्ट लोगों का ध्यान आएगा
हुई है क्योंकि पहले भी अर्जेंटीना के आने की बात हुई थी तब लोगों ने ये बात रेज की थी
but it's a totally political and उसका स्टेट का थिंग है
It's the same thing of a gentleman who brings all these former football legends to Kolkata pre-Pujo.
Kolkata exactly
and again it's good for the football fans to be able to interact with those people. But again, what value has it for Indian football? That's again, and it doesn't have a value. The point is that if you want to do an introspection, where do you take this? Where do you take this? What can you do? And the point is, again, tough decisions need to be taken. And we need to again. Playing at under 17, are we playing an under 17 team? That's the question.
नहीं सर उसमें उस दिन मेरी उससे बात हो रही थी स्टीव हार्बर से तो उसने बोला कि मेरे एटलेटिको मैड्रिड में एक फ्रेंड है कोच है जो मतलब इंडिया के सामने उनसे बात हुई तो उन्होंने बोला कि हमारी सेकंड थर्ड या फोर्थ टीम थी क्योंकि मेन टीम्स तो नहीं थी अवेलेबल वो लीग खेल रही थी तो उसको हमने अवेलेबल नहीं कराया था और उन्होंने भी वही बोला कि दिस आर दी नॉट दी 17 ईयर बॉयज दिस आर दी सम 21 ईयर प्लेयर्स सो
So if you want to sort from there, then तो अब हमें मतलब realistically देखा जाए तो अभी भी it will take us years to sort the issues that currently exist in the system.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
Again, like as I was mentioning earlier, that there are a lot of issues still from the financial aspects, and of course from the aspect that we are really not.
No, Akshata, financial, I wouldn't say. See, financial is even from, one thing which has happened over the last 10 years, one can say, that the ISL has brought is, it's better stadiums, it's better training pitches, it's multiple training pitches, it's a better broadcast. All of these things happened. The one thing which has been missing is on the field. We have not bothered, it's again sugarcoating because the foreigners, showcase a league which is better, and you're realizing it at the moment at the Super Cup. If 6 foreigners are playing, that the quality is better even with younger Indian boys because you have 6 foreigners on the field. If you're able to play 6 foreigners, and that is we have to see. that we need to raise the level. And the point is, a national coach is not a coach who has extensive time with his team. 2 weeks for a national team coach in today's football world is a long time. And so you have to try and get the best out of the boys. And again, we are not. You have to see what you can do.
So विनीत सिंह भाई, अगर आप एक बात पे एग्री कर रहे हो कि प्रॉब्लम विथ इगोर इज सिलेक्शन, देन दैट्स आल्सो नॉट अ स्मॉल प्रॉब्लम ब्रो. उसी से तो टीम खेलती है, तो इवेंचुअली योर एवरीथिंग इज डिपेंडिंग ऑन दैट थिंग भाई. अगर वही नहीं है, इगोर कैन बी you can say कि is one of the best players, but that doesn't mean कि is the one of the best coaches. Simple as that. There are many people, many players के जो अच्छे player रहे हैं लेकिन bad coaches है, and Igor is also comes into that category, bro. So stop giving that again and again the excuse that he is a only team selection. That is the issue ना भाई. टीम सिलेक्शन अगर आप अब नहीं कर पा रहे हो, 5 साल में आपने टीम ही कहाँ से बिल्ड की, वो तो दिखा दो मेरे को. 5 साल में आप टीम ही बिल्ड नहीं कर पाया भाई. नहीं तो विद दिस लिमिटेड, देयर आर मेनी एग्जांपल्स कि विद द लिमिटेड स्क्वाड एंड लिमिटेड टैलेंट, देयर आर मेनी कोचेस who you can say कि produce some extraordinary result in this kind of tournaments.
Yeah, see, it's not about can Pep Guardiola change something with such a team. It's a question of the intent. I feel that the intent is
that is the sir, sorry to interrupt, that is the biggest you can say कि lame excuses we are giving कि Pep Guardiola भी आ जाता तो क्या कर देता. अरे ऐसे नहीं होता रे. आप क्या यार, आप कैसे, मतलब एक्सक्यूज देने के लिए तो मैं कुछ भी दे सकता हूँ आपको. कुछ भी दे सकता हूँ.
You were wanting to say something?
No, I was just saying, like, Vineet was saying that, okay, he's seen a pattern of play. To be honest, I have as well. As in, like, I can see what you're trying to say in the sense that, yeah, okay, he's trying to bring a sort of style of play to Indian football. But the sad part is we don't have the technical quality, like Arnav mentioned, is needed to play that kind of football. Unfortunately, we don't have the midfielders who can sort of take the ball in tight spaces when they're under pressure. Suresh can't do it. I love Suresh. He plays for my club, but he can't. He's not that sort of. He's not an Apuya, for example. Probably is the only guy in this entire Indian team who can do it. Take the ball in tight spaces, play in the midfield. We don't have the technical quality to play that kind of football. And when you don't have the technical quality, you have to sort of, leave your stubbornness aside and look for another option, which Simon Grayson did. Like, for example, again, I'd go to the BFC example. He realized that there's a certain way that he can play with his team, and he did it, and he did it quite successfully in the end. Of course, whether the fans like it or not is a different story. But yeah, as a coach, he realized what he had to do. And yeah, that's unfortunately, that's what it is.
And another reality to add to that is, even if you look at the Asian Cup, again, Barrison, perfect. Wim Koevermans is another very, very good example. He wanted to try and get India to play the Dutch way. It totally failed because Wim Koevermans wanted us, wanted to play in a certain way when he came to India, which was totally unsuitable to Indian football. It could never have worked. And that is the realization of your team. If I like Stephen's tactics or not, Stephen Constantine got the best out of the players, even though the players were sometimes unhappy because he was too rigid. And the reality is, Stephen Constantine being a defensive-minded coach, the most attacking-minded team I've seen was actually under him against Thailand in that second half in 2019. So these are brutal realities that we need to accept, and we as Indian football need to work on to try and be better. But if we are only going to talk about it and nothing's going to happen, then this conversation we can meet in not 20, maybe in 19 years at the 2043 Asian Cup. And we'll have the same discussion.
Let's move on to the solution part. I think that's a good thing. So I want to know, जिनको भी आपको आंसर देना है दे सकता है. I think मतलब मेन 4 स्टेक होल्डर की हम बात करेंगे, AFF, ISL, FSTL, players and coach. So आपको जिनका भी बताना हो आप बताइए कि what are the changes you want to see in that, you can say कि area.
Can I
Starting
start?
with him.
Can I
हाँ
mention
start.
about the players? That is one thing that I genuinely
हाँ
feel
yes
not
yes
just
नहीं
for a
नहीं
men's
कर सकते
team,
हो. हाँ प्लेयर्स को भी
but also for
मतलब
a women.
प्लेयर्स भी. हाँ हाँ
हाँ,
बोलिए बोलिए.
for both the men's and women's team, I just want to mention that for whatever time I followed Indian football, I just see that the determination that is required ना कि एक top level athlete बनने के लिए वो नहीं है कि आप बिल्कुल अपना जी जान दे दें जीतने के लिए. You give it your all. It of course we they are our athletes, they are playing for the national team, we'll support them, we do, that's what we are doing, but we also have to be honest with ourselves कि हमको भी तो देख के लगता है ना कि are they actually giving their 100%, are they actually working so hard on their fitness, or are they actually bothered more about how they are being perceived on social media or other places. An athlete, like globally, if you see people who succeed forget about everything and they're just focused about their game. And I do not see that kind of focus from our athletes. I just feel that there is a lag and we have to accept that. They also have to accept that.
राहुल तुम कौन से एरिया में देख रहे हो कि इम्प्रूवमेंट कर ये करना होना चाहिए.
For me, it's simple. Like I actually I don't want to go to the players or the coach because it is what it is. This is the crop we have. This is what we can get right now at the moment. You have to, like, grassroots is something we've always spoken about. I'm hopeful in the sense that at least in Karnataka, when I see kids playing, I see that technically no coach is saying center back start dribbling or wing just go and dribble. Like there's a system and they all sort of stick to what they want to achieve, play through the midfield, all of that, and at a very young age, 12, 13. So it's nice to see that that side is sort of improving. And even a friend of mine who used to sort of, a couple of friends of mine used to play for Boca Juniors growing up here in India. And when they said that when they were kids, they didn't have leagues, they didn't have all of this. It was just a tournament. The I League was there, the junior I League was there, and that was it. But right now in Karnataka, it's nice that we have the KSFA youth leagues. So from under 7 onwards, still sort of under 15, under 17s, you have that, and then you have your division football for seniors. So that I hope, I mean, again, it's down to state federations to take these steps to improve grassroots football, let these kids play. For a 11, 12-year old, again, to get 60 minutes is huge actually in the end, I think. So yeah, it's these things that matter in the end.
अरोड़ा सर आपसे जानना चाहूंगा चारों जो स्टेक होल्डर्स है उसमें एक एक चीज जो आपको तुरंत आफ्टर द एशिया एशियन कप में कि ये चेंज आना तुरंत लागू होना चाहिए.
And before Anwar, you start, guys, over 120 people watching us. Please like the stream on Twitter, on YouTube, wherever you're watching. Please like the stream, subscribe, and do share. Thank you. Anwar, please go ahead.
See, the biggest need of the hour is proper leadership and knowledge. I think that's, for me, where we lack within the Indian football system. And the right people need to be running the system. That's the only way forward. There are a lot of projects here and there who are trying to do stuff. But it needs to be coordinated, it needs to be organized. And if you don't have the right people running the system with the knowledge, with the understanding, with the desire, with the will to change things for good, then we need to we can keep talking, nothing will happen.
Yeah.
What are the I think changes you want to see in ISL? Immediate changes.
I think the ISL has one problem, and that is the commercial viability, and that problem will not be solved as long as television channels don't show an interest to actually buy the rights. For example, Star at the moment is selling us a myth that Kabaddi is so successful. I mean, that's our biggest problem, because that's where the money would need to come in. But I've been saying this, and there have been other people who said, no, Indian broadcasting rights, there's a value to it. Indian football leagues, no one wants to pay a penny for it. The federations are paying money to, or the organizers are paying money to a broadcaster to broadcast. And this is not an ISL only problem. It's a problem across the whole system. No league ever has been sold for a proper amount which would make clubs financially viable. Never in the history of Indian football. So for the ISL to rectify itself, the problem is that there are, even in the ISL, in the I-League, there are clubs who are just about surviving. They're somehow playing. Look at Hyderabad's situation. The problem is we need to get it together. And if it cannot happen from within, which I've been saying for over 20 years, it will not happen from within. Get help from outside.
Exactly.
And that doesn't mean PIOs, OCIs on the field. Get PIOs, OCIs also at management level, who have worked or work at top level in international football.
Yeah. On the ISL, just one more thing. I don't know why. I want to know also why we reduce the number of foreigners in the starting lineup. The more you play with foreigners, you're going to sort of play at that level. You want to sort of better yourself. If you play at that slow-ish pace, you're always going to be there. The more foreigners you have, it's always going to be better. And you sort of start playing at that pace. You start thinking at that pace, and it makes a big difference. You play a slow game, you're going to sort of slow down. You're going to put your foot over the ball, take your time, look here, there, and then pass. And I don't know why we need
Sir,
some.
what do you think about the competitiveness of ISL की आप गेम इंटेंसिटी और लीग की जो क्वालिटी है उसको बढ़ाने के लिए क्या करना चाहिए? What are the steps?
See, your biggest drawback is the level of your own players, right?
Yeah.
So the question is the next generation going to be better? Increasing foreigners, yes, could be, but then again, if we're looking at national team, it's a problem. And we yes, Anurag, exactly. The reduction of foreigners in the ISL or in the Indian football ecosystem was done to enable more Indian players to play. Now the question is, I think the question is not of our best players playing in the ISL. I think the question is our players are so overpaid, the top players, the cream of the cream, that even our top players will not go abroad. I have a own example. Now we tried to take help Changte to get into Viking Stavanger in 2019. He got an exceptional offer at Chennai, and boom, the boy landed up in Chennai. So the point is, and it's not due to him. It was, again, people around him. But the point here is, we need our top players to take that jump. We have a few of these boys have been going through the squads in the teams in the Asian Cup. They're Iraqi boys who've tried in Scandinavia their luck. Players from Thailand, some Vietnamese boys. Of course, all of these teams, every team is now, Indonesia today won. Why? Because they have players of origin. Let's be very clear about that. Indonesia today won because of their players of origin, and these are lower level, some of them non-league players from England, right? They're de facto amateurs. And that's the problem also. The quality of foreigners is not good. The problem is also in Indian weather conditions. It was quite interesting that in the first half of the match, Vietnam against Indonesia, they said, listen, the level of football at the moment in Doha is much, much higher than any derby between these two teams on South Asian soil, because it is hot, it is humid, this, that, and everything. and that's the thing. We have we've got so many problems. I mean, if we could do a show for 24 hours, most probably to just list the problems of Indian football at the moment.
नहीं नहीं सर,
And
let's नहीं नहीं सर, let's move on to the then derby. आपने derby का नाम लिया है, so Kolkata derby just has been finished and East Bengal beat 3-1. So Rahul, did you watch that match or not?
I didn't watch the game, but again, it's
Okay.
nice. It's nice that, of course, saw the result and sort of the whatever highlights while reading. But yeah, great. It's nice to see that East Bengal have sort of gone through, and no, it's not Mohun Bagan. Of course, they've just sacked their coach and all of that. But yeah, the big boy is out of 2 cup competitions now. Only the ISL to fight for.
So last final का अभी भी वो है, आपके आपके क्या बोलते कि तुम्हारे स्टेटमेंट से वो लग रहा है।
नहीं,
Anurag sir,
वो I
have
think
you watched the match?
no,
yeah.
I was actually watching in parallel Vietnam, Indonesia. Today, I did not want to watch Indian football, to be very honest. After yesterday, it was like,
Okay.
let's watch the Asian Cup, which is more interesting. Actually,
Uh,
last evening, in the evening, went even for a walk at -5 degrees in the snow, because it's just, and I was talking to people, and had a lot of conversations, and it's interesting that a lot of people are suddenly saying, yeah, you were right. And it's like, I don't want to be right. I would love to be wrong. But the experience and the knowledge just says that these things are going to happen again. And that's the point. And it's it's a difficult word.
Sir, did you watch any match today?
No. I heard.
That's a good thing.
I was
By the way,
reading.
I watch for detoxing. I watch Japan versus Iraq, and that was a brilliant match. What I think the commendable
What
job from the Iraq side is their defense. I think पूरा 90 मिनट जिस तरह से उन्होंने मतलब I think defend किया है. I think that's a brilliant to see. मतलब against जापान quality side and जिस तरह से जापान ने मतलब क्या बोलते हैं कि सब कुछ ट्राई कर लिया. जिस इंटेंसिटी के साथ वो आ रहे थे, इन लोगों ने जिस तरह से डिफेंड किया, आई थिंक दैट्स दी जो आप इंटेंट की बात कर रहे थे ना कि वो हमारी ओर से नहीं दिखा, वो मतलब सामने क्या बोलते कि टॉप टीम है, भले गोल कंसीड होने हैं एंड जिस तरह से आपकी ओर से वो इंटेंट दिखना चाहिए वो कहीं ना कहीं मिसिंग लगा, दैट्स शोन फ्रॉम द यू कैन सी कि इराक साइड, एंड वो मजा आ गया देख के कि हाँ भाई आप कर सकते हो, एंड आई थिंक दिस इज द बिगेस्ट अपसेट इन दिस एशियन कप राइट नाउ.
ये भी तो एक फैक्टर होगा ना, लाइक इवन इफ यू डू नॉट प्ले वेल, आपको निकाला तो जाएगा नहीं ना. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि आपके ऊपर कोई असर पड़ रहा है. सो isn't that also affecting the motivation of the players?
No, I go back to 2019, the way India started against the UAE in that. Sorry, if Ashik is a little bit more.
I know you got dropped out, so can you please start?
So if I go back to 2019, and if we talk about intent, I forget the first match. India was in a flow. It just happened. You beat Thailand 4-1. Again, it's once in a lifetime of a game. But if I see the way India started in Abu Dhabi against the UAE, we deserved to win that game. But we fell back. Again, when I talk about mentality, the third game against Bahrain, we were just trying to defend to not concede a goal. And that happened in the 91st minute. Right? So this shows you the difference, the mentality part. And this is something, again, where the coach comes in and tries to get the best out of his players. And Igor Stimac that is one thing which I'll say is, I felt that he's made certain statements pre-tournament and also in the pre-match press conferences where you felt he's saying on one side, yeah, we want to win the game. But on the other side, he's given 3 different reasons of why the team will lose.
I also have a question on this, because we have seen the coach make some reckless statements, very often. I'm sure, of course, if we see in other leagues, other clubs, there are certain rules that people who are attached to have to follow. Some PR basics, some media protocols. Then why is it that we do not see this being adhered here?
Ask the AFF.
Yeah.
Simple.
What
mean,
we'll
I
have
mean,
to send them this question, and
I,
then say that we will
I
not answer.
can't answer that question because I'm not in a position of power and someone who can influence these decisions. It's if the coach decides that he thinks that's the best way, which I think is not. I think again, social media is good to have, but I think too many people are trusting social media, and again, it's part and parcel of the whole problem around the federation at the moment.
Yeah.
So I think
Anything
that's
to
the
add on the Kolkata derby?
नहीं बस इतना ही काफ़ी है आज आई थिंक कोलकाता डर्बी में आई थिंक मोहन बगान फैंस वेर यू कैन से कि रो रहे होंगे ईस्ट बंगाल फैंस वेर हैप्पी सो आई थिंक उनको उसी नोट पे छोड़ देते हैं एंड आई थिंक
It's sometimes when I like since yesterday looking at the disappointment on Rahul's face. मुझे राहुल के लिए इतना बुरा लग रहा है.
No, I just it's just me when I watch football. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't matter what
that's
people.
okay, but like look at his face. He's like just so disappointed, so tired. कि वही हो रहा है.
No,
So that
it's been my story because RCB, BFC over off late, and then
So you are the problem.
is
I don't know, maybe right. I mean Arsenal also. So yeah, it's a hard
you
life.
can say it
Club sides you can change, national teams you can't, right? So
No,
can't
I don't think you can change
that's
anything if people in
but sir
sport,
you
I think sporting fans have the hardest life.
uh, and that's why I think it's better to you can say कि जितना
I
जल्दी
mean
आप
I
समझ
mean
जाओ
I mean
sport is entertainment
no,
uh,
today, for example, think about it now. If you are an Indonesian football fan, you
fans
know what these guys are feeling, and
feeling
we have praised Vietnam so much as everybody else has, but these kind of failure again against Japan, they played an exceptional game. Today they didn't turn up. Indonesia
turn up
actually was there. They had the first chance within the first minute. And that is what I talk about mentality. It can be a better team than you, but try and put the opponent under pressure and try and get something.
Yeah.
And this is something which I say is, at the moment it looks grim. At the moment it looks tough. Syria is another day, another match. Who knows? But I hope that certain things are changed. That it's not just talk. That people keep talking about these things. And yeah. So
There's a
therefore, that's
question
an
from
important.
Shaggy.
Yeah.
आई थिंक वो हमने पहले बात कर ली है रिगार्डिंग द सर ने भी बोला है रिगार्डिंग द प्लेयर्स यू कैन से कि जिस तरह से पिछले 1.5 साल से कंटिन्यूअसली फुटबॉल खेलते आ रहे हैं सो वो भी एक फैक्टर है
That's another question, right? If Hiren asked about the ISL, I think the ISL needs to be clear is that do we want to grow further? Do we stick to this? Do we have the capability of running a 14, 16, 18, 20 team league with a number of players with a second tier I League? Right? You see, especially I think now at the Super Cup, even most of the weekend ISL teams are still much, much better than the I League teams. Let's take, today's Derby loss away. Hyderabad lost 4-1 to Srinivas Deccan. That's the challenge, right? So the ISL also needs to be clear about where's the journey going. Again, for the league, yeah, it might be better to have more foreigners to raise the quality. For Indian football, I don't know. Because people are saying that, we should try and take an I-League striker and develop him and this and that, everything. You see the difference between an ISL player and the top, or not even a top, the middle level rung of Asian football. You want an I-League player to play over there? Then I can bring out my joke. I can put Shine into a football gear and put Shine Sharkar onto the field. It wouldn't make a difference. That's why think before you say something, you write something. Just think. Please use your brains. That's my only wish. It's just putting out things for the sake of putting out things makes no sense. But we need to. The changes are needed. I think. We need to see that changes are made, and I think people need to be vocal about changes. But also, again, without right leadership, without leadership at all. I've not heard anything from our president after the 2 losses.
हाँ हाँ,
Uh,
वेलर सेपरेट हो गया ऑस्ट्रेलिया के सामने, अब इधर एक स्टेटमेंट भी नहीं दिया. इंटरेस्टिंग.
so yeah, I do believe we let's see.
Akshay on mute.
Sorry. For a change, I think it's okay. Like even if he's taking his time to say something, because it's better to say the right thing rather than just saying anything that might just anger the audience even more.
But do you think he made those statements? Do you think he has the time to made that tweet also?
But even then, like even if the media team is doing it, I think it's better sometimes. वो होता है ना कि say it. Silence maybe sometimes is better than saying the wrong thing. That's what I think a lot of other people also should be following on social media. Please just do not blindly say things, and even the audience, please guys, see what kind of content you're absorbing. See what kind of but like propagandas you want to believe in, because that's how you can truly support Indian football, not by just following some false propaganda, some false messages out there. So we also have to know our responsibility as fans and follow the right people and understand where we are absorbing all the content that we are. Any good time to end?
Yes, it's a perfect time to end.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Please like the stream, subscribe to all the channels. Arnava is live through his Twitter. Please follow him on Twitter and like the stream there as well. Thank you so much, and see you guys soon.
Good night, guys.
Good night.